Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Ito po yung lingkod at inyong laang kawal, Captain Mark Lester Katunggal, Philippine Army Reserve. And for this video, we'll talk about the difference of regular force and reserve force. So I get a lot of questions how to join the reserve force, and I thought of doing this video right now para po klaro sa ating lahat kung ano po ba ang difference ng regular force at ng reserve force. So if you ever like the content of the video, you can subscribe to my channel and pakihit po ng notification bell para po sa ating future content. Disclaimer lamang po, lahat po ng information na aking i-share ngayon i-base po sa aking personal knowledge and personal experiences. So I also learned these things from my colleagues and from my personal research din. So if ever there are items that you really feel or you really believe that need to be corrected, then feel free po to comment in the comment section. So to start po, allow me to show to you po this particular chart. Nakikita po natin at the top, andyan po ang Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas o ang Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP. Ngayon, yung AFP po, meron po siyang mga branches of services na tinatawag natin Philippine Army o hukbong katihan, Philippine Navy o hukbong dagat, at saka Philippine Air Force o hukbong himpapawid. So yung Philippine Army po at saka Philippine Navy at saka Philippine Air Force, in turn, we can think of them as services na meron ding mga sangay. So each of these service po, itong Philippine Army, Philippine Navy at saka Philippine Air Force, meron po silang regular force at saka reserve force. So in other words, ang Philippine Army meron po siyang regular force at saka reserve force. Yung Philippine Navy naman meron po silang regular force at saka reserve force. At saka yung Philippine Air Force din naman po, meron po siyang regular force at saka reserve force. In fact, ang Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas po on its own, meron din po silang reserve command. Tinatawag po natin AFRESCOM or AFP RESCOM. As an analogy lamang, we can think of the regular force and the reserve force as another branches of services for each of the branch of services doon po sa AFP. Yun nga pong Philippine Army, Philippine Air Force at saka Philippine Navy. So ngayon, ano ba ang difference ng regular force at saka ng reserve force? Allow me first to show to you po itong regular force. Nakikita po natin, regular force engages in full military work. Ibig sabihin, these soldiers are the usual soldiers that we see on a daily basis wearing their uniforms. So because of their nature, that they are rendering full military work, they act as the front line. Ibig sabihin, sila po yung nasa harapan, kumbaga. Sila po yung the usual that we usually interact with, we usually work with sa ating komunidad, yung mga nakikita natin on a daily basis, sila po yung regular force. And thirdly, ang regular force po receives full compensation and benefits. So because they are considered full-time, quote-unquote, employees of the Armed Forces of the Philippines or of the branch of service where they belong or where they are connected with, then they receive the benefits, yung kaukulang benepisyo at saka sahod, depende po sa kanilang rank o depende po sa nature ng kanilang mga trabaho. So basically, we can think of the regular force as full-time employees of Philippine Army, Philippine Navy o Philippine Air Force. So anong pinagkaiba ngayon ng regular force at saka ng reserve force? So in contrast to the regular force, ang reserve force po they engage in part-time military work. Ibig sabihin, we do not see the reserve force on a daily basis. Yung reserve force po, minsan tinatawag po silang weekend soldiers, citizen army, or weekend warriors. Ibig sabihin, usually po, depende po kung may order tayo, pero usually, yung reserve force are seen or are rendering part-time military work during weekends. So that's Saturdays or Sundays. So in contrast to the regular force, members of the regular force who are usually seen on a daily basis wearing their uniforms, and doing their jobs depending on the nature of their job. Yung reserve force po, weekend soldiers po sila. Ibig sabihin, they are not full-time employees. Also, ang reserve force, they act as support to the regular force. No, ibig sabihin, ang reserve force po ay backbone ng regular force. Kumbaga, in its simplest sense, yung reserve force po ang nagbibigay ng aid or ng support doon po sa ating regular force. So, depende po naman sa services na kailangan ng regular force na pwedeng ibigay ng reserve force, ginagawa po natin yan. Okay? So, hindi po natin pwedeng sabihin na ang reserve force is not equally important to the regular force. In fact, both of them coexist. Okay? They coexist for one purpose. So, in other words po, ang reserve force po ay equally important as with the regular force. Yung main difference po ng dalawa is this particular part. The reserve force does not receive full benefits or full compensation. Basically po, ang kailangan nating maintindihan, when we join the reserve force, dapat voluntary po siya. We should be doing it for the purpose or as an act of voluntarism or patriotism. So, kailangan po, hindi po tayo nag-expect ng benefit o ng compensation. Kasi when we join the reserve force, supposed to be kasi when we join the reserve force, supposed to be, we are doing it because of our intention to help our country and show our love for our country. So, basically, doon po basically, yun po ang main difference ng reserve force. Again po, ang major differences ng regular force at saka ng reserve force are the following. Also po, allow me to share to you this information. Yung ating pong reserve force or reserve forces ng ating mga branch of services are managed by the following organizations po. So we can think of them as organizations who directly manage yung ating reserve force o tinatawag nating reserve command. So for the Philippine Army, tinatawag natin siyang Army Reserve Command or RSCOM. Yung atin naman pong Naval Reserve, tinatawag natin silang Naval Reserve Command o NAVRESCOM. Yung sa Philippine Air Force naman, tinatawag nating AirResCOM or Air Force Reserve Command. So, under pa din po sila ng Philippine Army, Philippine Navy at saka ng Philippine Air Force, and they have just specifically distributed the roles, no? Yung kanilang mga trabaho at saka organization to manage po yung ating mga reserve forces. So, ibig sabihin, kapag we have decided to join the Philippine Army, doon po tayo magtatanong o doon po tayo kailangan mag-focus sa Army Reserve Command kasi yun po yung papasukan natin. In any case that we will choose to join the Naval Reserve Command, doon po din po tayo mag-join. And finally, if we have decided to join the Air Force Reserve Command, then doon po tayo mag-i-inquire at mag-join for our interest of serving our country. Sana po helpful ang information na ito. Again po, you can subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for our future content, and ang ating pong isusunod na ipopost na content paano po mag-join doon sa ating reserve command o how do we become a reservist. So you can visit this video. Ayan po, and sana po nagustuhan at valuable po sa inyo ang ating information. Again po, ito po ang inyong lingkod at inyong lang kawal, Captain Mark Russell Katunggal, Philippine Army Reserve. Ingat po tayo palagi, and thank you very much for watching this video.